Da-da-dee-ba-ba. Da-da-dee-ba-da-ba-day. Is that all tickety-boo? It is. That's perfect. And full stop, you're the first person alive. Well done. Congratulations from being here first. What a legend. I'm going to clip that one lower because it kind of gets in the way there a little bit. Okay. Ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Hey, Joe. Guys, I'm going to leave you here for a moment. This is embarrassing. I left my Polaroids inside. I'll come on back. I'll leave this brush here with you too. Stab it into the ground there. Back in a moment, team. You know, team, I was literally just about to give up. And then we found them. How wild's that? Literally just given up. Anyway, let's put this one up here. We're going to get the two most important ones for this section here, which is going to be, now, if you haven't seen this before, I've got a new Polaroid printing machine. So, it gives me all kinds of Polaroids, which is lovely. We're working off 2 today. Or no? Our main structural pick and DOS. What we want the sky to look like. Now, yes, in the other ones, we talk about the frame, we talk about the buildings that are tucked through here, but right now we're changing the overall tone and hues in places, so this is all we need. Aloha! Yeah, so funny you say that. This is the sky we're after. So you can see here, there's a bit more Joanne Brilliant. There's a ton of orange in there. Now, one wild thing about this is although it's massively warm, yellow is not so punchy in that sky. You could call that bit of yellow in there Naples yellow. Everything else is orange and a sort of deep vermilion. So we're playing way more vermilion. So the situation we had was Tyler had this perfect shot, which is this one. Voila. But Tyler said, look, this shot's perfect. This is what I want. And I agree with that. It's a beautiful, beautiful photo. But he said with the sky, that smooth gradient in there is not what we normally experience. What we normally experience on the side when I'm walking past it is a more turbulent sky, like this photo here. But in the photo where the sky's perfect, the whole landscape is contrasted out with just black. So we're basically working off 2 images and splicing them together. I was going to do it in Photoshop, but I thought, no, I actually prefer the 2 Polaroids, so we kind of dance backwards and forwards, and it kind of gets, as we go, a little bit of those flat gradients from the blues, and then a little bit of turbulent gradients from the actual sky we're after. But healthy spot. Now, I didn't come into the session today with a preconceived plan of which color we were going for, so excusez-moi as I scroll through for one to catch my eye. Found it. This is Naphthol Crimson, like a warmer vermilion. We'll take it. And of these tubes we're using here, some of them might run dry on us, which is okay because I've got a new paint order coming. But the most important thing is 2 rules that you have to follow, or at least I follow no matter what, is number 1, if there's paint left on the palette and you can't see where to put it, don't just throw it at the canvas for the sake of it. Throw it away. If it was obvious where it belonged, you'd see it on the canvas, and if you can't see that spot, don't just put it there because you have the paint. That is the first way to just ruin a painting. And the second one is, if you run out of a color, don't overcompensate and justify with other colors. Wait for the right colors to arrive. So hypothetically, this is the rest of our Naphthol Crimson. If we wanted more than that, we'd wait for more of the crimson. If we started thinking, oh, I'll just use a bit of purple, I'll just use some blue, I'll just use some vermilion, that's when the painting starts losing that color accuracy, and that I don't know, it becomes a painting out of circumstance, not just out of imagination. In 2025 that we're in now, you don't need restrictions on your color to affect your art. That was a restriction in the 14th, 15th, and 16th century. For us, we've got abundant color. We can go down to the local store and I've literally got a big bucket of paint for no real cost, to be fair. No real cost. Like, not compared to it costing the weight of gold back in the day. Maybe a week's rent, but not gold. Then again, a week's rent in New Zealand starting to cost gold. Okay, let's get in here and just play around. The other thing about this picture is there's like a piece behind it. It's a calming experience from this angle looking at the Washington Monument. So we need to get a bit of that intrinsic piece into the picture. I haven't been able to help it, but my actual structure, my Washington Monument's grown too big, too strong in the picture. We just need to just it down a little bit. You can't help it though, when it's such a focal point, there's this temptation to just woof it right up into the air. And who have we got here? Lord, Thomas, Johnny, Karen, and Jota. Jeebus. It's not far off everyone in the chat room, guys. One funky project I've had my eye on recently is I've been trying to train an AI robot to be a help robot on dismally. So if you've got spare time and you want to muck around with it, I've been trying to make it functional, but it's just hard. It just kind of follows a trail of thought, but it's not just any robot too though, sorry. It's a robot, and this is the weirdest part about training it. It uses my voice, so it guides you around the web page with my voice, and it's kind of weird. You feel like you're giving yourself instructions, telling yourself off and being like, no, don't do that, do this. But this is the world we live in these days. We live in a crazy world of abundant, crazy technology, and we're here to navigate it. How fun's that? Let me pull this out of here. Who's that? King J Bird. What a name. What a name. Can you already see these reds they're a more appropriate touch point for the sky that we've got. But they're going to take a bit more than this. They can't be on their own. This painting's going to need an abundance of vermilion. And we haven't even hit it with it yet. A lot of what we're doing just underwrites it. Just gets the colours in the right place for when we want to blow out the gate. We've been getting thicker with the texture too, lifting up the amount of actual pigment that lands on the surface. It doesn't change the end result all that much. A couple of early examples of lighter texture on our work were things like Zambezi River, Cassie's Joy and Mahalo, with the thicker texture works like Flourish and Green Goddess. But when you start to move into thicker textures, you can sacrifice a little bit of definition, but what you gain is that on certain angles and lighting conditions, different colours work in different ways. So there's never a this is better than this. There's always a trade-off. There's always what's the word? I guess trade-off is the word. A concession. You can't have your cake and eat it too, essentially. The other thing is that recently I have been trying to have my cake and eat it too. I've got a new method, guys. Do you remember how we went through making a lot of egg temple paintings about early last year? we're doing a lot of commissions with Egg Tempera. Well, I've discovered, well, not discovered, but I've got a new way to do that, which is going to be pretty fun. It's going to be the one thing I've figured out with Egg Tempera is it's very hard to sell those to collectors because humidity and dust needs to be controlled to make the Egg Tempera work survive for a long period. But what I figured out was we can create biospheres for the Egg Tempera. And what that means is you literally seal it in an environment which is completely controlled, like a completely separate atmosphere from Earth. And in that biosphere that I create for the painting, we extract all the oxygen, just take it all out of it. And in the top, we drip nitrogen gas, not drip, excrete, add through it, and let the oxygen fall at the bottom via 2 plugs. And then once we have a completely full interior biosphere of nitrogen gas, we screw the plugs back on and the work is stable state for a very, very long time. And this means that at the end of the day, and I wrote a blog post about this recently, at the end of the day, oils and acrylics and inks, they will either fade or yellow over time. There's no avoiding it. The oxidation of the oils, the plastics and the acrylics, the well, inks in general. But with Egg Tempera, it's stable state. It's just fragile. But it's not fragile if you put it inside a biosphere. And then you put glass on the front that makes it, put glass on the front that resists 99% of UV light. And as the saying goes, Bob's your uncle. You've got something pretty special. You are 100% on the money. This has been an outrageous science project. And part of what comes with it is if it's, when you make it, the next person to open it hypothetically would be well after my death. And so you've got to leave the instructions on it for actually what you did and how you did it. So that way someone who wants to continue its life in a completely stable state can know how to tackle it if the box gets dropped or something. So essentially, I'm not quite sure yet, but I think a metal plaque has to go to the back that says the concentration or whatever of nitrogen gas at this date, the type of wood around the outside, how it's all fixed, how it all comes together. But look, we're getting into dream state here, and I've been up at night, I've been chatting about it with people, I've been reading about it, I've been Googling it, I've been ChatGPTing it, and I think we're onto something pretty special, personally. Because the biggest fundamental issue for me with Egg Tempera was its sheer level of delicacy. It would outlast any other medium, but I was giving collectors something that was inherently quite fragile, and that wasn't super fair on, think families, think, well, I'm a dad, so let's just say think families. It wasn't super fair on, like, a kid can run into it and ruin your painting. Acrylics and oils, anything can happen. So anything can happen, and they just survive stable state. You can wipe them with a damp cloth. You can, you know, they're just pretty robust, but they're only robust for 500 years. What about stable state for millennia? Like, why are you worried about your painting surviving for millennia? Well, I think that's a good thing to play to as a, if you have the option of making it survive for 2,000 years and on, or not, you absolutely should do the 2,000 years and on. I can't see why you wouldn't. I think anything beautiful that we have in this world right now is relics from the past that have survived that period. when you look at the temples in Mexico, when you look at the pyramids in Egypt, when you look at just fantastic old structures. Now, I think paintings are in the same boat, that actually we want them to survive. Just need to figure out ways to do it without affecting the process. Of course, it'll affect the process without changing the process so much that the actual result, the art's affected. The art needs to stay pure. Everything you do, creativity first, energy towards the art first, philosophy first, and then everything else. If you do those things first, typically everything else just falls into place. It just seems to happen. You know, Steve, I've also got a thing on my shoes at the moment, which is it's basically a conductive wire that goes from my sole of my foot down to the ground. I haven't looked that heavily into the grounding thing. I just had someone show me with a, what do you call it, voltage tester, that actually you've got a different voltage when you're standing on the ground versus when you're wearing rubber on the ground. And so I thought, well, surely actually being barefoot's better then. But if you can replicate that with shoes, that's also great. So I've got that on my shoes. But the thing is, you wear those things all day. It's nice to actually get out on grass. Concrete does nothing for you, but actually feeling grass beneath your feet, it's super healthy. Super healthy. It's all rhetoric and feelings, but I feel like I have a better time. I'm a better person when I actually get, whether it's time outside or time outside barefoot, that's for anyone to argue, but certainly time outside, I reckon it's probably more the fact that I can feel the grass, not that scientifically that's doing something for me. I think as a Homo sapien, it's just nice to feel grass. I think we know about it. It's true. Nothing like natural. That is a fact. It's funny because there was a period not so long ago where natural was not great. You know, hardwood floors were being covered with lino, and this kind of carry on. Because the rich didn't want natural, they wanted something different. And now we're charging premium dollars for natural. Any company that can say how natural and sustainable they are. Even I, from a philosophical standpoint, have carbon zero shipping on all the prints and things, or sustainability as a core focus, like archival, color perfect definition first, of course, but then once you have that, sustainability, what can we do to be safe, blah blah blah. That's definitely, it's just interesting. These things go on pendulum shifts. I hope we stay with the natural being best. I know a lot of people never deviated from that philosophy, but I hope we stay with that across the board. Everyone agrees, and we don't just suddenly, after a few years of AI, get excited about synthetic again. Biggest travesty for me, things like covering up hardwood floors, that breaks my heart. Seb, would you agree that the dry erase board is the most remarkable invention? It's a good one. It's a good one. Yes. The dry erase board, Right, Chad. guess I'm a little bit slow today too, Chad. I'm used to coming back to you with some fiery hot puns, but I must have just spent the whole day using them up on my daughter, but now I'm just bone dry on the puns. So that's a tragedy. Chad, where in the world are you from, by the way? Have I asked you that before? Curiosity gets the better of me today. If you don't feel like sharing, that's okay. You can give a cryptic hint, and I can consider it for a moment. Emily, welcome in. Seb, are you talking to yourself or the camera? Well, I like to feel like I'm talking to you guys. I really struggle making reels and content when I do actually not have a live format and I am just talking to a camera. Feels weird, can't do it. I try and it always comes off kind of fake. When I'm live here with you guys, I feel like I'm on the phone more and I can talk to you. I don't mind talking to myself, definitely, that's okay. But I don't like a camera in my face that I'm filming a video for. I struggle with that, but in a live session like this, it makes a lot more sense to actually be more candid and be able to talk. It's like, I used to try, especially early in my art career, guys, I'd be like, my favorite color is, just trying to make reels. Do you want to take your art to the next level? I was never that bad, but like, you try and add that flair to it, and the problem is, you know when you spot it, when you like we've all doom scrolled for hours, and we can spot a lack of authenticity the moment it shows up on our feed, and it's just, I mean, am I still young enough to use the word ick? It's ick. And I think what we're seeing more of on social media, and with the live formats or whatever is helping proliferate it, we're seeing more authenticity, not just in the form of a buzzword, but actually just people who aren't afraid to be candid on a social media. For me, it literally, being candid on lives, whether it be on Reddit, whether it be on TikTok, whether it be on Instagram, Facebook, whether it be just posting the replays of lives, that's been a huge driver behind exposure and connecting with people around the world with art. I quiver to think what a different climate it would be if I didn't have a live format to be real in. You guys would never see the real me. You'd just see my poor attempts at trying to communicate via pre-recorded content. Blah. Midwest USA. Powerful. Speaking of the USA, I actually just collated a country playlist on Spotify. So if you want to hear some of the finest country songs, I believe, in my opinion, of the last 40 years, look up on Spotify Seb's Juicy Country Bangers 2025. I'll say that one more time. Seb's Juicy Country Bangers 2025. And expect the classics. All My Exes Live in Texas. Tulsa Time. That is a #1 song for me right now. All My Tulsa Time is possibly, I reckon I'd put that in one of the top 10 greatest songs ever written. Hands down. If you haven't heard Tulsa Time, sort it out. Go to YouTube, go to Spotify, and listen to Tulsa Time. And if you're not bobbing, just a little bit, just a little bob, then we're just not cut from the same cloth, and I can't help you. Okay, to release a reel at some stage for Tulsa Time. Dum 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 dum. Who here knows Tulsa Time? Am I on my own here? There must be some people here who know Tulsa time. 27 people in the room. There must be someone who knows Tulsa time. I can't remember the name of the artist. Doom, 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 doom. Doom, 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 doom. It's one of those songs that when you hear it, you're like, yeah, I've heard that a million times. Add a few little flare points of these strong colours in here, but actually, this is falling on the situation I was talking about before. We have more red than we're going to need in this picture, and the reason why that's good, King. I'm also from New Zealand. This is Auckland. This is Auckland grass. This is a behind me there. Those are Auckland trees. I was going to say pine trees, but they're not actually pines. My grandfather was very, very good at telling me what different trees were, but he didn't pass that talent on to me. I've got no idea what they are. Talent. It's just raw intelligence for the wildlife environment. Maybe it comes with time. Dum, 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 dum. Dum, 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 dum. So, I think that makes it clear to me. I think, yeah, perfect. I'm the only one who knows about Tulsa time. Well, everyone needs to go get some culture. Go to Spotify and go listen to Tulsa time. Chat group drops to 0. Change your life. How do you spell it? Tulca space TIM. E. Nah, Aussie, I'm going to upset both sides here. Aussies and Kiwis sound super similar, guys. You are 100% fine. Makes yeah. If you think of, I've said it before, but Kiwis sound like robots, and Aussies sound like they've got bees in their throat, and that'll get you most of the way there. And then an upset Kiwi sounds like he's got a bee in his bonnet, and then a chill Aussie, he just wants you to let him be. Hope that helps. You're welcome. I'll see you later. Thanks for joining in. Do 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 do. If I can bring you up. Oh, we lost connection, team. Is it going to come back? There we go. Thought I'd lost you forever for a moment there. It was going to be a disaster. There you go, that's where I want you. Just like that. Yeah, it's like it. So, yeah, big wild sky there. Now, through here, we're going to splash a few colours in there, but this is a field. It's not water, so we can't just reflect everything like we normally do. That being said, expect to see little touch points of colour that we use up here, just slightly pushing themselves into that lower area. Just little bits. On to Arizona. Just about to lose my mind. Mississippi. Don't. On to Arizona. Just about to lose my mind. There we go. There we go. That's what I want. On to Arizona. Beautiful. That's exactly what I'm after. This little pockets just like that. Just like that. Just like that. One thing that'll happen quickly is our texture get up too high, and when it does, we just put a giant pour of, in this case, a crystal clear liquid polymer mix over the top. So that way it won't change the colours that we've used, but it'll flatten the texture a little bit more so that additional brush strokes won't be affected. I've already done one of those on this work. It doesn't remove the textures altogether, it just levels them a wee bit, and that is a desirable quality. Just dance around the edges of this. Just about to lose my mind. On to Arizona. Dova. I wonder if we do a little tweak here, guys, because it's kind of in this kind of light, it's a bit tough on you. Can I? There we go. Stand that up straight. In the beautiful light that we've got here. I'm just going to put you bang on centre there, team. Just like that. Now, one of the things that we're doing, remember, I don't know whether it's the Kiwi in me, but we've started making that Washington Monument kind of look like Sauron's Tower. Not that I don't like that, but we most certainly want it to be recognisable as a Washington Monument. And part of the issue there is I started to expand the top of it out too much. Obviously, as the Washington Monument does, it actually contracts in towards the head. So we'd love to express that. That's important. But if we outline it and carve it in, we confuse what makes the Washington Monument special. We need to actually gradually, so you can see a bit of reds coming in here and around it, just tweaking it but not drastically ruining it. And that's what we're after. There we go. On to Arizona. Just about to lose my mind. Straight after this live, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn on Tulsa time. Have myself, probably, just guessing, but probably a rosé. I'm usually a Pinot Noir boy, but I'll swap to rosé. Ain't no harm in that. On to Arizona. Just about to lose my mind. Wonder if I can add a bunch more yellow in there. If that'll have a hi Iggy. Well, Iggy, first off, I love your passion. Yeah, the jeans are a little wacky. They're from an op shop, but they're pretty cheap. I just thought they were kind of fun. And I love that you'd love to own a painting. Best place to go, leap on the website. There's a section right at the top called painting. Click that and you can give your location, your name, and who was that there? Oh, thanks Huxing. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but thank you very much for being here. Appreciate you. Name, location, what you're thinking, your inspiration, and then there's an opportunity to upload pictures. If you don't have a picture that you want to have painted, you can either skip that section or you can upload a picture of the place you're thinking of hanging it, and we can complement that area with the frame and things like that. But at the end of the day, everything you need is in that painting area, and so long as you put your email in right, then we can just talk. It's entirely fine. We don't need to... I think the most important thing to know is by filling out that form, you're not being like, I'm buying a painting right now. You've started the conversation. We're actually creativity ebbs and flows team, and we're actually about four commissions behind at the moment. So to actually, there's a bit of a waiting list going. But that doesn't mean we can't start the conversation, and it lets you mull over what you'd like to do. Have a bogey, mate. Huh. No, I don't. I picked it earlier. I remember it. It was a good one. There we go. Let's get this in here. There we are. Gorgeous. If you can play Tulsa time for me, I'll have a boogie. But copyright will stop it from happening. After the stream ends, just so you know, I will be listening to Tulsa time within 4 minutes of the stream ending. So, if you would like to simultaneously dance to Tulsa time with me, then get it ready to play. Thanks, High Priestess. Get it ready to play pretty much shortly after I turn off the live session. We've got a bit more light though at the moment. It's diffuse lighting, but because the clouds are out, it'll stop the actual sun from giving us as much juice in these later evening hours as I wanted. It's gonna tone back on us sooner, which is a little bit of a shame, but we're gonna make it work. Hey, from a It's a hard one. This one's this angle here we can see the artwork front on. It's a bit harder on my neck, but it does you guys more justice in terms of you being able to see the whole picture. So we'll kind of yin-yang around different angles, but ideally you'd strap the camera to my chest and you just see what I see. But we've tried it with the glasses. I've watched the replays of it, and it's just a little bit jarring. It flicks around a lot because I move my head quite like abruptly. It's not just smooth, flowing feeling. So anyway, when new tech comes out, we experiment with it. But honestly, the best of the best is just turning the camera on, just hanging out, and in aggregate, you can just see over all the sessions the picture coming together. And then I think the best, what's the word here? I don't know what the word is, but the best finale for that is to be able to see on the website the final result. I am sorry that the entire print section isn't available on the website right now. But what we do have is 8 to 10 of my favorites, which I reckon is a pretty close second. Now, when I say favorites, please don't think best. I typically will avoid that word like the plague because people think that I mean that, and I don't. What I mean by favorites is, at this point in time, certain works are saying things to me that are relevant, you know, that I connect with, that I find meaningful. And then in a couple of months' time, a year's time, 2 years' time, those works will change, they'll evolve, they'll alter. And I think rather than offering 50 different prints, what if, to make it easier for me, I just offer the 10 that I resonate with right now. So you guys don't need to guess what's Seb's favorites. If it's in the print store, it's currently one of my favorites. And that makes it simpler for you guys. Because I think you see a list of 50 prints and sometimes you think, oh, are these all equally as favorite right now at every given stage? I think you have certain soft spots for ones. One that I have a super soft spot for, I'm gutted I never got a copy of it, was Zambezi River. Oh my God. Zambezi River. I've got a copy of Mahalo. I want a copy of Zambezi River. And I've got a copy of Varanasi. Just so happens Steve's got 2 of my favorite paintings. It's wild. I was actually looking at a photograph of 2 cowboys. Big fan, Steve. Been a while since I've looked at that piece. It was kind of fun to be able to just, you know, look back and see that one. It's just spin you around to there, guys. I'm going to move you back a little bit further so I can just feel a little bit intimidated by how close you are. I love them too. I'm glad you're enjoying them, Steve. I get a lot of grief from family members about Varanasi because they all feel like I should never have let that go from the house. It's a problem though. When you're an artist, yeah, there's a weird thing happens that obviously the ones that really capture people and people feel something in, they're the ones that people want to buy and collect. But those are the exact ones that you never want to sell. You want to cling to them and hold them. And so you end up in this weird paradoxical thing where you have to sell your favorites. And it breaks your heart. And I've often mused that it'd be so great to be wealthy enough to, you know, have enough money not to have to worry and just keep everything. I know it sounds selfish, but just to not, like, I get an immense kick knowing some of these works are out there in the world, making other people's lives a bit more pleasurable, bringing people happiness, but Oh, there's some of those works where I just wish I could have them in my living room again. Just there's one of the older ones. I'm not sure if anyone would remember it. It was called Expression. It was a man's face looking around mid gasp, and that's one of my favourite paintings I've ever made. I just feel like it's the epitome of my style, and it's in New York City, and I haven't seen it for 4 years, and it breaks my heart. So it's kind of the worst part of a creative trade. Floor guy, glad you're passionate about floors, and I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. I've got a massive print, a little bit smaller than this, but a big one. And we actually, funny story, of Varanasi, and I had it. It's one of 5, so it's the first one printed of the of that set. And anyway, we had it laid out on the floor. I haven't even got it in a frame. We laid it out on the floor, and we were just having a glass of wine and looking at it. And it's the print that makes me romantic about it, because it's such a that massive print. It's such a anyway. Oh dear. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll show up in Phuket one day, Steve, and we'll make mojitos and look at it together. You can tell me what you like about it. I'll tell you what I like about it. And it wouldn't surprise me if our 2 things we liked about that painting were actually completely and utterly, entirely different. Please, I made you laugh, can you? You think you can put the phone and act like a giant? Can I act like a giant? I'm trying to think of a witty reply to say to that, but it's just a weird request. When you say we would love that, do you mean you'd love to see me put the phone on the ground and pretend I'm a giant? Start trotting around this field saying fee fi fo fum? Or the thing before that? Mike, you did catch a live. Welcome on in, Mike. I've seen you in the comment section on a few Instagram reels, which I've been enjoying. But yes, you're here on a live. I love that. You've got... Oh, so I thought I was being mean and condescending when I said fee fi fo fum, but you're telling me that that's the vibe you're after. You know what? The world's a crazy place, and I'm not here to judge. Unfortunately, I'm going to be the party pooper here and say I'm going to use my right to consent and say I'm not in the mood to do that. But I'm super excited that you know what you like, and I feel like if more people were like you, the world would be a happier place. I don't think we need more people pretending they're giants. I'm not a tall dude. I'm like 5'11". So while I might fantasize about being a giant, no. Problem is, I eat enough as it is. Last thing I need is a bigger grocery bill, guys. I'd hate to think what my grocery bill would look like if I was another few inches taller. It'd be a disaster. Absolute disaster. Can't happen. Can't happen. yeah. Don't worry, Steve. I knew what you meant. I was just being a nonce. Is that? Am I allowed to say that? My English friends say that. Is that an okay thing to say, or is that really rude and derogatory? If you say it is, I'll never say it again. G'day, Jay. Welcome in. Welcome in. Good to have you here. We're in the fading light of the evening here in New Zealand. The fading light, and we're continuing to work on this picture of, this is the Washington Monument, but like I've said previously, it's from the other side. So since it's from the other side, like Zac Efron was saying to Hugh Jackman in The Greatest Showman, It's going to have a very, very different vibe, especially the pool where Jenny runs towards Forrest Gump. That's not here. So, while that's a tragedy, we'll learn to move on. We'll grow through it. It'll be tough. It'll be tough, but we can do it. We can do it. Okay, floor guy. One thing this world's going to teach you though, if you want to grow to be big and strong, always lead with intention. Say what you want. In your case, you want me to put the phone on the ground and pretend to be a giant. I get that. So you lead with intention. You put your desires out there. You put your intentions out there. And then, when the answer's no, you graciously concede and move on to the next thing that could make you happy. And by doing that, not only will you create new friends, but the people you do meet will have a better understanding of who you are as a person and know that you're not only a polite person, but a gracious one that knows what they're after in life. And that could be you. Right now it's not, but it could be. It could be. And I'm looking forward to it being you. And it's going to be great. It's going to be great for everyone here. And me, who just never conceived of it being asked that question before in my life. And I'm glad we're here. Here we go. It's like the NPC thing. Guys, that came out of nowhere and stopped, didn't it? There was a period where every single person was an NPC for a while. You'd scroll Facebook and every person was just pretending to be some sort of a robot. It was wild. And I'm glad that's over, because that was the most unpersonal, unmeaningful way to experience social media. It was kind of like a game, but it wasn't. It was like, how well could you keep character? It wasn't about being authentic. So I didn't like it for that. I didn't like it for that. I'd love to if, like a lot of the social media's like not singling out TikTok, but the philosophy behind it, or the core value is, make your day, to inspire joy and creativity and things. And I feel like if one of them, whether it be from Pinterest or whether it be TikTok or whether it be Instagram, whatever, if the core value was capture authenticity, what then would change about the platform, and what would the actions of the employees and end results of the software be? And I feel like fundamentally we'd see a shift from people creating content with a desire of going viral, and actually people, everyday people, anyone, feeling okay with sharing online, because it was less about how people would react and more about allowing them to be authentic and express themselves. I feel like some people have the courage to do it on live sometimes, but actually I don't feel like that happens a whole lot on social media. I feel like it takes a huge barrier. Oh, we got some dogs here in our team. Hello. That means Shelby's back from her walk. Huge barrier to do that at the moment. Like, to actually start sharing your thoughts and feelings. Like, the terrifying thing that I find too, imagine that someone you used to know, this is a bad way of saying it, someone you haven't talked to in a while would suddenly stumble across it and see you. Like, when you first start posting or thinking about posting, that's the phobic thing that holds you back a little bit. You're like, what if I don't want to share it because someone might see it? In a similar way, that's the experience that people have with artwork. I don't want to share it because someone might see it. And if that's how you feel about your art, you're probably making it in the right way. if the thought crosses your mind that you don't want to share it because someone might see it, then you might just be making it in all the right ways. If you made it because you know someone's going to like it, I mean, that's could be the right place, but it could also be the complete wrong one, wrong philosophy to approach the art with. It's got to always be scary to unveil art. That's what I reckon. I reckon even if it's your 50th, 100th, whatever amount of pieces, if you still get butterflies in your tummy when people look at it, because that you're hoping they see what you see, then you're making it right. That's what I think. Gene, welcome. It's looking great. I wonder how much paint you go through each time you make a painting. Lee, that is a good question. What is that? Oh, these animations are getting wild. Thanks, Mike. I'm in New Zealand. This is Auckland. Sorry. And with these works at this scale, we'll go through about, it's fair to say about 2.4 litres of liquid. So in paint form, that's going to be, like, we'll put about $300 or $400 worth of paint on this. Easy. Just because you're buying, you're buying medium, high level paint, you're going through it at a hugely fast rate, and you can't let, and this is where you get caught out sometimes, you can't let the materials restrain the process if you can help it. Try and make, I know it can be tough, and when I was starting out, I was just burying all my money in oil paints first and foremost, because with oil paints you can make them go further with different mixes inside them by adding stand oil, linseed oil to them. Acrylics feel like you get more acrylics, but they go so the tube's bigger, but the actual distance it goes is much less. So oils are actually the most cost-effective one. They last longer, but this is with gouache acrylics, so small amounts of acrylic, but actually loaded with pigment, and we just keep throwing it on the surface until we feel like the job's done. But man, we go through some paint. Like, my paint bill, jeepers creepers, guys, makes your eyes water. But you've got to make sure that you don't let that, if the picture gets constrained by how much paint you want to put on it, I don't know, we've explored work that was constrained by colours and access to paint for the last 400 years. In this last 100 years, last 50 years, we now have an abundance of colour and paint. So it's kind of our responsibility that even though we could blow hundreds and hundreds of dollars on a piece, you've got to explore that. Almost out of respect for the likes of Van Gogh, who was trying to discover new yellows. Anyone, the ancient Greeks, Egyptians, who had access to certain pigments and not other ones. A lot of history. France not being able to get their hands on ultramarine blue until, what was it, 1836. Out of respect for all those places, get all the colours, throw them around, have some fun with them. And the last thing, put the paint on with your fingers or a cloth before you go to a lower quality paint, because the student paints don't have the pigmentation. Well, the tube seems like it's cheaper. You actually get, it's like buying a tube of water. You don't actually get that kick inside of it. Think of buying paint like just buying liquid pigments. And probably the best thing to do, if you're strapped for cash but you want to make art, I would go down the route of making your own paint, because this pre-made stuff costs a lot of money for not a whole lot of gain. If you buy proper pigments, powdered pigments, and you combine it with oil yourself, or with a acrylic medium yourself, or in my case with a egg tempera mix or a gouache mix, you're gonna save a huge amount of money, guys. Huge amount of money. It's gonna be way harder. Way harder. It's like going to the supermarket and buying a cake versus buying the egg, flour, milk, whatever goes in a cake, baking soda, baking powder. I don't know. I'm not good at cakes. The difference is going to be astronomical with difficulty of use. But as for a cost saving, making your own paint is a fantastic way. Just remember though, if you are going to go down that route, and I'm a massive advocate for it, if you're thinking about it, you can message me. If you're thinking about certain mediums, I'll give you any advice except for watercolor. I don't know why, I just don't like that one. And I'd love to help you go on a journey to making your own paint. The amount of control it will give you, astronomical. The amount of satisfaction it will give you, take it from me, it's humongous. And the purity in your resources that you're using, oh my God, oh my God. You don't have to do it forever, but even if you just change to 80% making your own paint and then 20% acrylics and oils, you'd suddenly have this giant shift in your budget and you'd be able to afford to make more art. Sorry for everyone in here who has no interest in knowing how to make paint financially viable, but I'm passionate about it because I love making my own paint. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. I cheat. Not like that. I cheat with these ones because they're simpler, so I can actually completely focus in on my color palette. But honestly, if time wasn't a constraint and you had infinity and you weren't working with light, like if you're in a studio, oh my God, makes you paint every day. It'd be so great. If you remember when we were in the studio in Auckland, I'd typically mix paint in that studio because of the controlled environment. Chicken that's in the oven, it needs to come out and rest. Woo-hoo-hoo. And rest for 15 minutes. And then after that, it needs to go on a grill cycle at 220 degrees for 10 more minutes.
Okay.
According to ChatGPT.
Take the chicken out, let it rest for 15 minutes, put it on grill cycle at 200 and how much?
20.
220.
You're gonna be great.
Thank you, I know.
I've been slow cooking chicken all day. I was supposed to be finished by this time, but I started a bit late, so I thought, I'll just keep going. But now my alarm went off, so the chicken's finished in the oven. So we've passed on the steps to Shelby. The chicken's going to be okay. I know you were all concerned. The chicken's going to be okay. And sorry, let me just get this. That's where it's going to come to, just that. There we go. That's where we want it to come to. So that's just 3 inches too long. I just got way too excited there. That's just not what we're after. We're trying to tone back that monument a wee bit. Absolutely, Mike. That's we've done it a little bit, haven't we? We've dabbled away with a few little bits of paint, but I haven't done a sole focused one. Would you want it to be on egg tempera, or do you want to make all kinds of paints? Stupid question. We'll do all kinds of paints, and I'll tell you why I like egg tempera. But like, at the end of the day, it's all pretty similar. You basically get the pigment and mask up. That's an important thing because these powders are so fine. They're not great for your lungs. Certainly much safer than a lot of solvents you can breathe in, the volatile organic compounds that'll melt your brain. But those pigments, being so fine, you do stand to do damage to yourself. So that is one little thing to be careful of there. Where'd you get your jeans? I love the colour. An op shop. So technically, they're one of one. Sorry, what was Mike saying there? Coming in here. All kinds, yep. All kinds indeed. No, I tell you, 100% Mike. And actually, these little yarns in these live sessions are kind of just teasers. I need to show you, because with the egg tempera, there's what they were doing 1,000 years ago. There's what we recommend them do 400 years ago, and there's what Leonardo was doing, Da Vinci, and then there's what we do today. And essentially you're trying to stay with standard practice so you can keep that age-old track record of just millennia of lasting, and you're trying to figure out, has any new technology disrupted this? Because it can and it will, to improve how we do it. And the idea is to actually thread that needle. So we don't do it exactly as Da Vinci did it, because why? Technology got a wee bit better. For example, surfaces are different. We use masonite panels, which is wood fibers heated and steamed and pressed into panels, rather than ply sheets, which can flex over time. That's not a universal rule, but for egg tempera works, masonite's a winner. And so like these things change slowly, so slowly. But that doesn't mean that, essentially though, if you bought an old book and you read up how to do egg tempera, it would still work. It's not like acrylic, where it sort of feel like acrylic, the way we apply it, the way we use it, it's developing. Acrylics are effectively, and it sounds so bad to say it, but acrylics are effectively industrial grade, professional grade, invincible plastics. That's what you're painting with acrylics. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But if we can outcompete professional grade, invincible plastic with natural compounds, well, that would be desired. Kind of like how we now have our supermarket bags. They're not plastic. They're, all sorts of different stuff. But our goal should always be to, when we're not compromising on quality, to go for natural, organic, and sustainable. And egg tempera is all those things, which, provided it outcompetes the oils and acrylics, definitely the better option. Definitely. But it's always a mixed bag. And it's never 100% this or 100% that. Acrylics are very, very good at avoiding humidity. So if you're working in hot climates, working with acrylics is just a wonderful, wonderful thing. I'm like, what's that smell? That's horse Riley over here. I'll show you. Hold on, guys. I'm wondering what the smell is. And just behind me here, oh wait, just there. You see old mate? He's closer than this appears. He's taking a whiz out there in his field. Anyway, Mike, 100%. And if we talk about artist health as well, obviously natural's best. What's going to be better for you? Breathing in plastic fumes all day, every day for 60 years, or breathing in egg? And I know you think, ooh, like the egg never smells. You're doing it so thin and so abruptly fast that it seals. And once it seals, it makes this film on the surface that just sits there stable state, no joke, stable state, into effectively, if you can keep dust and humidity away from it and no extreme temperatures, into eternity, kind of like honey. And so that's its only competition. The one that beats egg or competes with egg or even out-competes egg, but it's more fragile to heat, is what's called encaustic painting, where they actually put the pigment into beeswax, melted beeswax, and then apply it. Very common in Egyptian tombs and things like that. Some people these days still do it, but it's a very challenging medium to work with. Super challenging. But Encaustic, arguably has the longest track record. I think it outcompetes Egg Tempera, but it's more sensitive to heat. That's why in these Egyptian tombs it's lasted for so long. But Encaustic is just boom. You can't get the same, like we couldn't paint like this with Encaustic. That being said, Mike, you wait. I've got all the supplies there because my friend said, he's like, you yarn about Egg Tempera all the time and you paint with it. You talk about Encaustic lasting longer. Why have you never shown everyone how Encaustic works? So we've got all the equipment. We're going to do some videos on what Encaustic's all about, and it'll be fun. It's way easier to mix because for some reason the hot wax, the liquid pigment just dissolves into it. With Egg Tempera, you might have seen me just mixing it in like this, just slowly getting the mix right. You don't need that with Encaustics. Just bang, it's ready. And then it hits the surface as literally like a melted candle, like wet wax. Boom, sealed. And so I think the one thing that I've resisted doing it for is that the surface has to be flat, because otherwise it just drips and you'll end up with like a messy candle. So that's not super desirable. So you work on a flat surface. So yeah, I might need some help for filming, but we'll probably just do a big colourful portrait, you know. John Lennon 2.0. Love that guy's face. Love that guy's face. I do have a habit though. I can't help it. Once I find a picture I like, I just do it 3 or 4 times. Like, I think we haven't seen the last of John Lennon's face, guys. I think we've played twice, but I'm gonna do a few more. It's kind of special. There's we did it with Mother Time, Solar Gala. There's a lady, and there's 3 different versions of her face. You can see them. I think they're all on the website. Definitely one of them is. Maybe all 3 of them are. I think they all are. Amazing. Beautiful, beautiful picture though. That's from 2021, guys. So I really... Solo Gala. Seb's got a soft spot for that one. There we go. Just a little bit there. Just a little bit there. All right, team. We're dipping into that too darker area now. But the good news is, aside from taking the canvas in, we'll leave everything else out here set up. Now, these were just acrylic gouaches. So although there is fumes, they are very light. We do have gizmos if we started using stuff that's more heavy. I think the last note I'd like to put out there is just make sure if you're working with any nasties, and this, my friends, is a nasty. This is called Liquin. So this is the most pungent stuff that you add into oil paints. And while I love oil paints, man, and these are some of the best ones you can get. This is Michael Harding's oil paints. So mix that with a bit of Liquin, or he has his own natural stuff. But this stuff, if you're working with this, you wear this. People say, I'm not sensitive to it. Okay, well, don't hurt yourself. Just try and be careful. Anyway, we're going to pause there, guys. This has been very fun. I'm going to go make sure that chicken's going okay and Shelby's all right. Ryan? I am sure she's nailing it. I'm sure she's nailing it. Guys, this has been fun. And sending love from this little New Zealand studio here. We're back tomorrow morning. Until then, all the best. Stay healthy and happy. Bye, team.